Can't hear me. What'd you say, Judge Zeidler?
They all look so familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is your group. Hello, everybody. Officially, we are live streaming. My name is Taina Longin, and I'm the training specialist at CASA of Los Angeles. And we have this wonderful group graduating today. We've worked through 5 weeks of training, going through 40 hours of online, and let's be honest, everything was online because it's, COVID-19. And I appreciate all your effort throughout these 5 weeks. And you're about to embark on a new journey, and meeting your CASA child and interacting with their families and supporting families as well. And without further ado, I want to introduce Judge Zeidler. There's a point where you'll be turning on your audio, and everybody else who's not graduating will be turning off their video and audio, so y'all can swear in. And let me go ahead and pass on to Judge Zeidler, who's been on the bench for 20 years and has already talked to you all. So go ahead, Judge Zeidler.
And I saw in the chat that there was one person, Valerie, was having trouble hearing, and did that get resolved? You did.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Long time no see. You made it through. Supposedly, they tell me you're okay and you're ready to go. Any questions since I last saw you? I heard you were prepped to ask questions. Yes, it's Kathy.
Good morning, Judge Zeidler. It's great to have you here with us. My question is, let's see, let me write it. I wrote it down so I wouldn't mess it up. Have you ever gotten emotionally involved in a case and had to take a step back? And if so, how do you overcome that issue?
That's a really good question. I don't have emotions, right? It's really tough. We're all human, and there are times where I probably have gotten, I wouldn't say emotionally involved in a case in a totally inappropriate way, as opposed to a reasonable way. There are times where I've had to take a step back and check myself as to making sure that I wasn't getting what, in judicial language, what we call it is embroilment, making sure I wasn't getting embroiled. There are some families that I've known longer than others, and some kids I've known longer than others. So there's a different type of relationship and communication with either that child or those parents. I think that it's really about checking yourself and being able, it's when we teach new judges, we always teach about the ice in the road, whether we're talking about legal ethics issues or other things. We talk about being able to recognize the ice in the road and recognize those triggers that we have and identify when something is occurring. So I have had times where I've had to step back and check myself, and it is difficult. I've had colleagues who have had a hard time staying in the juvenile dependency court because of actually crying on the bench during cases. And it's not that uncommon for a judicial officer in dependency court to tear up. I've teared up in dependency court. I will tell you, most of the times I tear up is when a case is closing home of parent with a parent who has worked really hard, and that parent actually ends up thanking us for having given them the support and having had them involved in the system, as opposed to resenting it, or kids who are aging out of my court who have just really come a long way, and I've been able to see that progress. That was a long answer. Any other questions?
So, I have one.
Yes, please, Catherine.
Catherine, yes. Since COVID, we're not able to go directly to the courts to see how a proceeding usually goes. Is there any way we can listen in on a WebEx hearing, just so we kind of know the format beforehand?
So, and actually I've been surprised that CASA hasn't been having the class classes sit in, because when we were live format, before you graduated, you actually watched in a courtroom. We used to do it the day that you were going to graduate. You would all come and we divvy you up. They would divvy you up into some courtrooms, and you sit in court, and then at lunchtime get sworn in. And then we started having people just come on whichever day they could, and then come in for the swearing in. I have no problem. The reality is that when you're a CASA and you have cases on calendar, you're an officer of the court. You're sitting in the court watching other cases that you're not on, that are confidential proceedings. So I have no problem with CASAs coming and observing on my court in any given day. But Lynn has a more legal answer that she's going to jump in with.
No, I can just, so we're going to give you access to Litmus, where there are court proceedings that have been recorded that you can see that were done just for this purpose, but it actually just became a scheduling nightmare because you have to have a staff member there to observe in the hearings. And so clearing it with the courtrooms and the number of people, although I'll talk to Judge Zeidler about it offline and see how many people exactly can observe in a hearing, and we can see if we can work that out now that we've been doing it for so long. But you will have access to the our learning management system that has court hearings that you can observe, so that you can get an idea of the terms and kind of how it goes. It will be different in every courtroom, but that's kind of why if we let you observe in Judge Zeidler's courtroom, then you'll think that every judge is this awesome, and so we don't really want to do that yet.
Every judge is this awesome, honest.
Differently awesome.
And it is very different, the format now. And I don't remember if I said this to your class, but in some ways, I think that by doing the remote format, it's more trauma informed with the parents just logging on directly into the courtroom and a judge introducing themselves, asking them who's on the phone or who's logging in and which child they're here regarding, as opposed to the whole stress of trekking to a courthouse, the stress of sitting in the waiting area with the caretaker or the other parent or the relatives who you don't get along with, and then coming into the courtroom. In many ways, it really is a more trauma-informed system, and you'll get a chance to see that. One more question, if any?
I have a question. Have you ever been a part of a case that was closed with reunification to see those individuals show back up because maybe something fell apart again?
It is, it's interesting because we have two types of cases that come back in. One is it closes with the child returned to a parent in reunification. And sometimes it's the same issue that has come up again, whether it's substance abuse relapse or new incidents of domestic violence. And that it's not uncommon, but it's not as uncommon as would make you uncomfortable and disappointed in the entire system. So we do have families that come back into the system. And then we also have cases that maybe close in guardianship, legal guardianship, where for whatever reason, there's new issues with the guardian and the child needing to be removed from the guardian, or the guardian needing services to help stabilize the relationship and the placement. It is, and I have to say, I find it very rare to have adoptive parents' cases come back into the system. I think there is definitely, even if it's the grandma or the aunt, there is a different mindset when you've done the adoption. Even if you have the child still calling you grandma, there is less likelihood of calling a social worker and saying, take this teenager out of my home, than there is with a legal guardian saying, take this teenager out of my home, I can't handle it. I want to thank you again for your commitment. I told you previously that this is really, I think, one of the only opportunities, there aren't a lot out there where you really get to impact the life of one child or one sibling group. And this is definitely one where you get to do it. It might not be a major case. There are little things you're going to be involved with a family, and there are larger issues you're going to be involved with a family. It might be giant and medical issue or things like that, or it might just be making sure a child is getting the appropriate counseling services or education needs met. And I'm pretty sure I probably only told you one of two of my stories, or did I tell you no stories? Did I tell you guys a foster care story? I didn't. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is one of those bigger examples of an impact that a CASA can have on a child. And I share this one because there have been newspaper articles written about this child and about his CASA. His name was Dodger, and he was severely physically abused when he was very young. And when the CASA was first appointed, he was in the hospital. The CASA changed after about a year, and the second CASA on the case was Jan Miller. It wasn't clear whether whether Dodger would ever be able to walk again from the severe physical abuse. He didn't have a lot of upper arm strength and mobility. The CASA went to all of the meetings with the doctors, sat in on all of the meetings to know everything going on with him. The CASA was the one who identified a gait trainer, an assisted walking device that he would be eligible for, found out how to get it for him and got it. At some point, a potential adoptive mother was identified in Illinois, and the CASA started including her by phone, sometimes speakerphone, in the doctor's meetings and medical meetings. The foster mother came out from Illinois to visit and meet him. Eventually, he ended up going to Illinois and being adopted in that home. And Lynn was there when we did the adoption by Zoom. And in their house in Illinois, the whole house had Dodger banners up. It was Dodger Day in Illinois. The CASA stayed in touch with Dodger throughout. When he was around 10 or 11 years old, she showed me a photo of him with leg braces on, walking a Tommy Hilfiger runway. His CASA, Jan, passed away about 1.5 years ago, and I was visiting her when she was sick, and we FaceTimed with him, speaking about cases where I'm still involved years later. And Dodger was very into sled hockey, where he sits on a sled and someone pushes him while he plays hockey. He had met 2 members of the U.S. Hockey Paralympic hockey team and had autographed jerseys that he showed me. And when we spoke that day, he was getting ready to go to Miami for a tournament. So that is kind of an extreme example of a difference a CASA makes in a child's life. CASA's, you're not just this special friend, but in many ways, Jan did end up becoming like a grandmother to him and staying in his life as a grandmother figure. And I'm not going to tell you my other story, but if you ever see me, ask about my Eagle Scout, who at 9 years old was in and out of group homes, and that CASA ended up being the reason he ended up involved with the Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and eventually he ended up an Eagle Scout with an incredible Eagle Scout ceremony. Okay, see, I started telling the whole story. I didn't tell you the whole story, but his Eagle Scout project was, and this was a kid, mild autism, anger issues in a group home at 9 years old, who his Eagle Scout project, because he had moved up to Alameda County with his foster family, was the USS, I just blanked on the name of it. In Alameda County, there's an aircraft carrier that's now a museum, and they have a chapel that's open to the public on Sundays, and he created from scratch 8 wooden pews, and his Eagle Scout ceremony was on the battleship aircraft carrier museum, and his CASA and her husband and my husband and I all flew up to San Francisco, Alameda County for his Eagle Scout ceremony, and the person he had put on his Eagle Scout badge was his CASA. So, see, I gotta give you a tearjerker to end with. On that note, in the chat is going to be the oath that you're going to be repeating after me. And when I say I state your name, you're going to say I, and you're going to state your name. And you, the staff are all, except for Selena, the staff are all going to turn off their videos. And we're going to have you unmute yourselves. And if you want to open your chat, you can, to see the oath. And please, new CASAs, raise your right hand. I also go really slow. I've been sworn in for a number of things. I go slow. Don't worry too much about having it open in the chat or having it in front Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kathy Griffin,
Do hereby swear or affirm
Hereby swear
or affirm
that I will truly and faithfully
that I will
I will truly and
faithfully
faithfully
the duties of the court
do the
appointed
duties of CASA, perform the duties of court-appointed special advocate
perform the duties of a court-appointed
special
advocate
on all cases to which I am appointed.
on
all
all
cases
which
to
I am
which I am
appointed.
appointed.
I will do so
and I will
I will do so
according to law
according to law
and the policies of CASA of Los Angeles,
and the
policies of
Los Angeles.
and that I will always act
and that I will
and I will always act
in the best interest
The best.
the best
interest
of the child or children for whom I am appointed.
for the child
children
children
for whom I am
the children for
appointed.
whom I am appointed.
Mazel tov. Okay, the doggy who's graduating,
That's mine, sorry.
no worries. To all of the CASAs, congratulations. But while I still have you here, as court-appointed volunteers, you will have access to dependency court legal files and proceedings. As you know, these files and dependency court proceedings are confidential. You are charged with the responsibility of upholding the confidentiality of these cases. You are not to discuss these cases nor reveal the identity of these children with any persons other than those individuals who are rightfully involved in the case. This would include those court personnel, social workers, family members, the child's, not yours, attorneys, and other professionals assigned to the case. So on that note, and when I say swear or affirm, it's just if you for a reason do not like to swear and prefer affirm, feel free to say affirm. So raise your right hands again. You can mute or unmute depending on what you want, and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do
solemnly swear or affirm
to uphold the confidentiality,
to uphold the
Confidentiality
the information contained in the legal files
of the
information
contained in the
in the
legal
legal
file
file
all other case information
and all other case information
that comes to my attention
that
that
comes
comes to my attention
during the course of my work
during the
course of my work
as a court-appointed special advocate.
as a court-appointed special advocate.
Mazel tov. I forgot to do what I usually do on the Zoom swearing-ins. I usually put my robe on and surprise you guys. Mazel tov, congratulations. Thank you so much. If we were here in person, this would be the point where I would call your name and you'd come up one by one and I'd hand you a certificate and we'd take a photo together. And if you had family members there, they'd come up and we'd take a photo together. The last time we did this in person, we did not do the handshake. Instead, we did the elbow bump and stood a little further apart for the photo in person. And now it is a year later and we are still on the Zoom. So I'm gonna still acknowledge you one by one. And if you're not muted, mute yourself again. And when I call on you, please unmute yourself and you can either tell me how you found out about CASA or what you do for a living. And also let me know if you have any friends or family watching on the live stream. So first up is Catherine Emrenon.
Hello, I heard about CASA because, sorry about that. I was matched on an email, a volunteer website, match.com, that I signed up for, and CASA was one of the organizations that they thought I would be a good fit for. So I just basically emailed them and got more information about it. Yeah.
And do you have anyone watching today?
My daughter, who's a freshman at Boston College, is watching. And my other daughter here in Los Angeles is watching as well. Unfortunately, my husband's on a Zoom business call, so he can't watch. Do you know if this will be recorded?
It will be recorded.
Oh, okay, awesome.
And you won't be seeing your daughter in Boston in person for a while between the pandemic and the frozenness. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Afsun Abusaba.
Hi,
Hi.
it's me. So I learned about the CASA when the pandemic hit, and I really wanted to volunteer in any part of the city of Los Angeles to help with the pandemic. And I learned about CASA, and I applied for this position, and I'm really glad I'm here. I don't have anybody to watch this live stream. This is sad, but my husband is at work and he can do that.
No worries. And during the it's interesting because when you first said during the pandemic, I was like, well, this isn't like totally pandemic related, but the reality is that foster kids who are more disconnected than almost anyone else other than some seniors really in terms of the pandemic and its impact on them is just massive. And having that one more person to be a connection for them really is crucial, especially for the ones in group homes and congregate care. So this really is very much a pandemic-related volunteer position. Thank you. Melissa Bryan.
Hello, hello. I learned about CASA via just personal research, actually, and looking for ways to get involved in the LA community. So I'm very excited to be here and know that there's a big challenge ahead. So I look forward to that and also very thankful for all the training to date. It's been fabulous. I have a weird audience in the background listening to me at the moment. My sister, my mother, my 6-week-old nephew, and my 6-year-old niece. So it's a little bit of a zoo over here.
Okay. Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Next up is Rosie Charbonneau.
Hi.
Hi.
I actually first learned about CASA, I think, through an Instagram post that I saw. And I researched it and really found that it was a volunteer experience where you can actually have some impact. I've done other volunteering, but it seemed very kind of surface. And I just wanted to, get in deeper, I guess. So that's my story. Right. And I don't have anyone listening in at the moment. People are Zooming or at school. I do have my cats in the room, but that's about it.
And they're not as loud as Kathy's dogs, no competition.
Not today, at least.
Thank you. Dana Christensen.
Hi, I'm Dana. I heard about CASA through a friend and one of CASA's great trainers. And I have, I think my mom and my boyfriend are listening in on YouTube.
And who are the friend and the great trainer?
Kayla.
Oh, Kayla. Kayla's great. Great.
I agree.
Thank you. Congratulations. And next up is Sharon Cooper.
Hello. I have had the privilege of knowing about CASA for over 20 years. I was a CASA and on the CASA board in Illinois, Winnebago County, and moved out here 5 years ago. And it's just taken me a few years to get my feet on the ground and get involved back again. So happy to be here.
That is so great. And anyone watching?
Nope, not today.
Okay. Welcome to LA. You've probably been here a long time, right?
5 years.
Okay. Taylor Dunn.
Hello. I heard about CASA just on a random podcast that I had never listened to and didn't even listen to it again, but they just kind of casually mentioned like, oh, my mom is a CASA, and didn't go into it at all, but I did research and I was like, this is exactly something I want to do. So it was very serendipitous. And then I have my friends and family watching, my Chicago family.
Hi,
and everyone loves you. I'm getting messages like, I love this judge.
Hi, friends and family. I love you. Actually, and my family and my husband's family all were in Chicago at various times. So I have that Chicago connection too. It's amazing. The more people I think, and I think Lynn can vouch for this, the more people you run into who know about CASA, who are CASA somewhere else, who have heard of CASA, it really is incredible. I mean, there are state legislators who are CASAs. It really is far and wide now. Leila Edgar.
Hi. I heard of CASA about 6 years ago. My former employer was interested in becoming a volunteer, so I came with him and I went to court and met with Lynn, who's on the list here. That was, but at the time I was living in New York City. So now I'm in Los Angeles and I'm able to do it. And it was, I thought, a great activity to do, especially during COVID, to be able to do something to move forward while we're all stuck at home. I'm really glad that we were able to do training at home. As far as people watching, I sent the link to my parents in Connecticut, and then I wrote them back and said, no, don't watch. You can watch it later. I got all nervous. So I don't know if they're actually watching or not.
If you're there, hi. Hope you're staying warm. And for the rest of you, if you want to know how this usually goes in a courtroom with CASA in a courtroom, now you know you have a classmate who can tell you about like what it's like in the courtroom in normal circumstances. You probably were in my courtroom, I think. You look familiar. Valerie Gilliam. Sorry.
Hello. I first heard about CASA, well, many years ago, and then I heard about it on the radio driving home from work in 2019, pre-pandemic, and it's taken me this long to get this far. Probably my fault more than the pandemic, and then I sent the link to a few people, but I'm not sure if they're on the call or not, but if they are, hi.
Well, and you know, it happens at the right time when you're ready, finally ready to do it. Kathy Griffin.
Well, thank you. I heard about being a CASA. I'm a retired teacher. I retired this past June. I taught for 34 years, and I saw the struggles of foster kids firsthand as a teacher. And I heard about CASAs, but I didn't really connect. And then it turned out I had a friend who'd retired and had become a CASA. So I called her after I retired and said, hey, how do I do this? And how do you like it? And here I am, and I can't wait. So I think it's a way for me to continue to make an impact on children's lives now that I'm retired in a real, really solid way. So.
And where did you teach?
I taught in Palmdale School District.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I have several people watching, I think. I know I've got a good friend, Randy, watching, my cousin Sue, probably my sister Laura, and maybe some of my other cousins. My son and daughter-in-law who are in Florida said they'd try to tune in. So, I have a really one, and my daughter might be watching, but she's working, so she probably got it over on the side. But yeah, I've got a lot of people behind me, so.
Great. One reason I like to ask what do you do for a living is because even though you all have met each other, it's a chance to start thinking about the resources you have among each other from the people who are in your CASA class. There's someone in the entertainment industry. If you're having an education issue, yeah, the CASA folks can help you with education issues, but to know that you've got a former teacher in your group is another resource right there for you. So thank you. Natalia Jackman.
Hi, I just was searching the web and was looking for different opportunities to get involved in the community, and just randomly came across CASA and thought it would be a good opportunity. And currently I have my boyfriend watching and supporting.
Great. Hi, boyfriend. Put a ring on it. And this is like the most random class where like everyone just kind of randomly found CASA. It's wonderful. Brandy King.
Hi. So I had done some very small fundraising and working with a nonprofit here in LA called For Goodness Cakes. So we did cakes for children in foster care. And I think Google was just, lurking, and CASA, an ad for CASA had popped up on my Facebook. So I read it, and my future goals would be adoption or foster care. So I thought it would be a really good educational experience while being able to help somebody. And that's what I plan to do this year. And here we are.
Great. Anyone watching? Any friends, family?
Nobody's watching yet.
Thank you very much. And next is one of our newest CASA staff members, Selena Santiago.
Hello.
Hello.
So I've known about CASA for a long time. Obviously, my employer was helpful with that in that regard. I work for CASA, so obviously, I got to know them. But to be honest, it's been something that's been a lifelong passion for me. Growing up, my family attempted to partake in what ended up being an unsuccessful adoption. And it was a very hard, long, and complicated process. And as a, young adolescent, I remember watching my would-be little brother who didn't have anyone to speak on his behalf. And that really, I think, affected my life view and wanting to really impacted why I wanted to dedicate myself to thinking about how do I speak on behalf of others. And that led me into the nonprofit world, and eventually, full circle, here I am at CASA. And now I get what I say to be an absolute privilege to become a CASA as well.
Great. And anyone watching?
I hear footsteps and barks of my family outside the door. So they're hearing and will be watching later.
And we had a wonderful CASA director the last few years, and she just left 1 or 2 weeks ago. And it really was during her reign, I think, that all of the CASA staff, including the executive director, ended up going through the CASA trainings and becoming CASAs themselves. And it really adds a new depth and dimension to the program. So thank you. Joey Shanahan.
Hi. So let's see. As a child, I was in the foster care system and spent a considerable amount of time in group homes myself. I had some kind of CASA-like experience where we went to court, and my 5th grade teacher had been going to law school at night, and she showed up and she was my lawyer. So I always knew after that experience that I wanted to do something to help kids in a similar situation. So about 15 years ago, I went to a CASA orientation in San Francisco, and I just could not make the time commitment. So coincidentally, I work for a nonprofit organization called the Cancer Support Community, and my board chair is a CASA. So it was like this great reminder that I had always wanted to do this, and both of my kids are about to leave the nest and go off to college. So the timing is great. They're probably still asleep. They're not watching, but I hope they watch later. So that's me.
Did the cancer support community used to be the wellness community?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow. Great. Thank you. We're lucky to have you. Molly Sievert.
Hi, that's me. I wish I could remember exactly how it was, but I think it was also independent research of some sort. I don't remember how I first came across the name CASA. But yeah, I was looking for something to do in that was a little bit more hands-on, kind of like Rosie said. I used to work in the nonprofit world, and I wanted to get back into that in a meaningful way. As far as who's watching, my parents are watching, and I think my boyfriend's watching. Special shout out to my mom, because she's a social worker, and that was always an inspiration to me to be able to do something that's super exhausting, but that helps people in the ways that we can.
That's great. Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. This is the point where I usually say last but not least, and then I get a chat telling me, no, you forgot someone. Haley Warengo.
Hi there. I am a film and television producer, and a networking group I'm in of women in the entertainment industry. One of them is a CASA, and sort of reached out early summer, I want to say, saying that if you want to find something to do to really make an impact, like check this out. And I kind of just pursued it immediately and didn't look back. So
great. And anyone watching?
My toddler and my husband and my dog. My dog's wrapping at the door, but no, that's about it.
Your toddler. It used to be that when I started as a lawyer here 30 years ago, so many of our CASAs became CASAs after their kids had all grown and left the house. And now we have so many CASAs. I'm so impressed with the number who, while dealing with their own families and their own kids, are also doing this volunteer work, and it really makes a difference, I think, having that connection in your life, because you also have the positive at home at the same time you're dealing with kids who have all these other things going on in their lives, so you get the balance too. Congratulations. Oh, do you want to tell us who the friend is?
Oh, sure. It is, well, they're not I don't know if I've actually ever met her, but Audrey Schulman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lynn's like, oh yeah, Audrey. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for what you're signing up for. To your friends and family, thank you for loaning these incredible volunteers to our kids in our court system. It really is an incredible commitment that they're making. And on that note, I'm actually literally going to run out of the Zoom to run into the next Zoom. Thank you all. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. So every single time we have a judge, they take time out of their really busy days. So I'm so glad we had Judge Zeidler today. And next up is Megan Maddock. You've met Megan, session 2. She's CASA's Chief Program Officer.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. Our session 2 feels like honestly years ago. So I'm glad we all made it to this graduation. Congratulations. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on next steps, and I'm incredibly proud to welcome you to the CASA family. I know that this was a difficult time to start training and go through the process, and it may even be, you know, some new challenges and new quirks in getting started with your advocacy, but I think one of the most hopeful things during this time has been seeing all of our CASAs and seeing all of you go through this process. I mean, there's so many people who are coming to us with wanting to give back, wanting to help their neighbors, wanting to help their community, and it's really been beautiful to see. So I know, especially for this group, you have a lot to give and you're excited, and I am too. So I want to just encourage you to keep in touch with us. You'll be meeting your supervisor later, and keep in touch with me. Let me know how things go, you know, the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything in between. I'd love to hear how your journey goes, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. You know, once we can be in person and you're coming in for court, I'm looking forward to seeing you then, but also hearing about your amazing work through your supervisors and from you. So I will put my email in the chat, and I hope you'll connect with me and just keep me updated. I also wanted to thank all the friends and family who are watching. This is an adventure for you too, and maybe you'll even get sucked in. I hope you will. So thank you for supporting your loved ones on this journey. It's going to be amazing, and I am so excited for them. And congratulations. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on your next steps.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Thanks, Megan. And next up, we have Angela Daughtry. Angela is the outreach manager, and she's here to speak with you all.
Good afternoon, everybody. Congratulations. I'm so excited to always see everyone make it through graduation, and I'm excited to see a few faces that I recognize. So congratulations. Thank you for joining our CASA family. We're glad to have you here. And now we ask you to post about CASA. Post about CASA, talk about CASA, bring people in, tell them all about us. You know, send them our way. We have an info session tomorrow. We'll love to have anyone show up and learn more about CASA and see if it's a great fit for them. Congratulations. Thank you for completing and joining our CASA family, and spread the word, get people in. We need more volunteers. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Angela. Okay, so we have our very own CASA graduate today who's speaking with us. So Selena
Hi, and thank you all. I apologize, my daughter just broke into the room. So I am CASA's Chief Development and Partnership Officer. I will start by saying congratulations to us and thank you to the amazing CASA staff. I am not supposed to have cohort favorites, but I will say that this is going to be my favorite class. And I just wanted to share with you that I really appreciated the experience of going through this with you all. I'm really proud of what we've accomplished. CASA is a nonprofit. My team and I get to actually fundraise and make sure that we have the resources to have more volunteers to do more great work in the community that you all are about to take on and we're going to do. So my ask here today is, when you see our emails, when you see the activities and the invitations, join us, spread the word, share it with your friends, share it with your networks, follow on social media, help others get involved. We have a gala in May coming up. We have a number of opportunities where we're happy to go and talk to folks and tell them what we're doing, what are opportunities for people to either become CASAs or, donate if they're able to, because we really rely on just all of the support that we can get to do more of this great work. So you'll see emails from us if you have ideas or want to get more involved and be helpful. You have my contact information, but I'll put my email also in the chat here. Reach out to me. I want to continue our personal conversations, but also as we're trying to get more people involved and aware and just get them to participate in the activities that we're doing. I hope that we can count on your support to do that as well. So thank you again and congratulations.
Thank you, Selena.
All right. Okay. So we're on to, and thank you, Selena. It was great having you in class. So we are on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Lynn Gabriel. She's the Director of Volunteer Services and the Director of Outreach Department. So Lynn.
Congratulations, everybody. I'm so excited for all of you. This is, well, there'll be lots of happy times, but this is the start off of the happy times. I was a CASA for 10 years before coming to join CASA in 2011. So I have an idea of what she'll be in for, although everybody's journey, that word is so overused, everybody's journey will be different. My journey led me, and I think somebody else had mentioned wanting to do this. So when I was relieved from my last CASA case in 2014, I think that same day I got my certification to be a foster parent. And I became a foster parent. And then 2 years later, I became an adoptive parent. And I think many of you probably saw, or nobody you didn't, I guess it was before everyone was here. Benjamin, my son, usually pops his head in and tries to tell a bunch of stories to everybody. He's quiet right now. But this is just going to be really amazing for all of you. I know, like I said, it's going to be different for everyone, but it just coincidentally yesterday, I got a phone call from the mother of my second CASA kid who I started working for in 2003, and he passed away in 2011, but I've kept in touch with his mom. And there's another kid that I worked with that he graduated from Hofstra University and is now managing a weed dispensary. So there's kids that you'll keep in touch with, and some that want to be done with the foster care system when their case closes. But it'll be the hardest, best thing that you have ever done. And know that just as Megan is, and Selena and Angela and all of our team, we're here to support you guys. Let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. Let me know if you have any comments about training, how it went, if you'd like to see something different, if it was the greatest thing you've ever been through, because that's what people usually say, but you don't have to say that. Yeah, and your friends and family, I think I just want to, Megan's going to kill me here, but I just want to correct her on getting sucked in. We might invite them for this opportunity, is what she meant to say. Not that they might get sucked in, that they might be invited to join in this opportunity, this very special opportunity for extraordinary people. So we appreciate all of you, Megan. Just thank you so much for doing this. I know it's not easy, and especially with everything else going on with the pandemic. So you guys are really stepping up in a huge way, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you all. And I will, as everybody has, put my email in the chat box as well. So congratulations.
All right, so you all are going to hear from Megan again and get a chance to learn about who your supervisors will be. Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, I am super excited to be able to introduce you to the folks who will be supporting you through this journey and be there to give you guidance, to give you feedback, to help you through the process. Our supervisors are all really incredibly experienced and amazing individuals who have a lot of background in this work, highly educated, and will be able to help you with what you need on your case. So I'm going to just call out their names just to give them some recognition. And then we're all too familiar with the Zoom breakout rooms. When we finish today, you'll be magically transported to a breakout room with your supervisor, and they'll tell you a little bit about what it's like to look at a case, to get matched, and what that process will be. So on the call today, we have our amazing team. We have Ben, Christy, Melissa, Michelle, Tamara, and Tammy. So those are the amazing team members you'll be working with, and you'll get to meet them very, very shortly.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Advocate Supervisors. You're amazing. Just before we officially close graduation, I wanted to give a special shout out to Kayla Escobedo. She has been incredible throughout training, not only throughout the 5 weeks of training and helping support, but also she's been working in the background through this graduation and making sure you all don't drop out of graduation and try to get back on. And she's been supporting through this, and she's been an incredible support and a wealth of knowledge during graduation and during the 5 weeks of training. It's been amazing. So thank you, Kayla. And I wanted to do a special thank you for all of you and all the time that you've dedicated to this work. And like Lynn mentioned, we use Journey. I've used Journey so many times, but this is such a big role you're taking on, but you're not alone, and you get a lot of support. You have these advocate supervisors who are really incredible. You could still reach out to me whenever you feel like it. I would love to hear from you. And you have the whole team, everyone here to support in this process. So before we end the live stream, I just wanted to go ahead and say goodbye to everybody who's watching and everybody who's supporting you, and send hearts or waves, and feel free to say bye, everybody. And Emily will let us know when we get off of live stream. And everyone, thank you for watching from YouTube.
Bye, thank you.
Guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Okay. All right. So now, Emily,